On the night of December 5th, the Chechen Republic was attacked by UAVs. One of the drones hit a skyscraper located 800 meters from the residence of the head of Chechnya, Ramzan Kadyrov. The explosion occurred in the Grozny city complex. Photos published online show significant damage to the building's facade. According to mapping services, the building houses the Chechen Ministry of Tourism, the Regional Department for Relations with Religious and Public Organizations, the Regional Office of the Ministry of Justice, the Chechen Security Council, the Republic's Audit Chamber, the local Ombudsman's Reception Office, the United Russia Party's Reception Office, the Regional Election Commission, as well as Chechen Eftekimprom. Explosions also occurred in the Samara region and in Russia's Krasnodar Krai. According to Russian public sources, eyewitnesses in Syzran, Samara region heard at least about 7 loud explosions. People in Russia also complained about sirens and a glow in the sky.
So what's the connection? Is it not over there? This is what it looks like.
Local residents believe that the strike targeted the Syzran oil refinery, which belongs to the oil company Rosneft and supplies fuel to the Samara, Saratov and Penza regions, as well as partially to the central regions of Russia. In Russia's Krasnodar Krai, the seaport in the city of Temryuk came under attack. Oil products are transported there. A large fire broke out after the attack. The regional operations headquarters confirmed a drone attack and a fire at the site of the strike. Local authorities reported damage to elements of the port infrastructure. What exactly is burning has not been officially reported. The Russian Telegram channel Astra, citing eyewitness accounts, reports that fuel storage tanks are burning at the Temryuk port. Some monitoring channels write that preliminarily a gas terminal is burning in Temryuk. However, there is no official confirmation of this information. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance said that good news regarding the end of the war in Ukraine is expected soon. In an interview with NBC News, he stated that there has been significant progress on this issue, although the finish line has not yet been reached. At the same time, he noted that he remains optimistic about this matter.
I think there is hope. I hope that in the next few weeks there will be good news on this front.
U.S. President Donald Trump also stated that the war of the Russian Federation against Ukraine will eventually come to an end during the Christmas tree lighting ceremony near the White House. Trump emphasized that tens of thousands of soldiers are dying because of the war in Ukraine and that this must be stopped. According to him, the U.S. is working on this issue.
We are looking for another option for a settlement between Russia and Ukraine, if possible, and I believe that eventually we will achieve this.
Meanwhile, it has become known that a meeting of the Ukrainian-American delegation has concluded in Miami, where a peace plan for Ukraine was discussed. At this meeting, Ukraine was represented by the Secretary of the National Security and Defense Council, Rustem Umerov, and the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Andriy Hanatov. Earlier, the advisor to the head of the president's office, Oleksandr Bevs, noted that the Ukrainian side is seeking to obtain a report on the recent negotiations between U.S. Special Representatives Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. The recent visit of U.S. President Donald Trump's envoys to Moscow led to the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin rejecting yet another plan to end the war against Ukraine. As reported by the Wall Street Journal, this clearly indicates that Putin does not want peace. 4 unidentified UAVs attempted to interfere with the landing of the plane carrying Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in Dublin, according to the journal. According to the publication, the plane landed just minutes before the drones reached the location where Zelensky's plane was supposed to be at that time. The UAVs then flew toward an Irish Navy vessel that had been secretly deployed at sea for the Ukrainian president's visit. During the flight, the drone's signal lights were turned off. According to the country's security services, the incident can be classified as a hybrid attack since the drones were large, expensive, and had military purposes. An investigation is currently underway. When departing from Dublin, Zelensky's plane used a special runway to minimize the risk of incidents involving UAVs, the journal adds. Dmytro Litvin, the Ukrainian president's communications advisor, confirmed the journal's information.
The host country is responsible for security. According to their information, there really were such drones, but this did not affect the visit or force any changes to it.
In June of this year, the head of the Security Service of Ukraine, Vasyl Malyuk, reported that Ukraine had prevented another attempt on President Volodymyr Zelensky's life.
The objective was the physical elimination of President Zelenskyy at the Rzeszów airport. Several options were considered. One of them was an FPV drone, another was a sniper system.
On March 6, 2024, during the visit of Zelenskyy and the Prime Minister of Greece to Odessa, a missile strike was carried out on the city. According to various sources, the explosion occurred at a distance ranging from 150 meters to 3 kilometers from where the delegates and Ukrainian officials were located. In 2022, the advisor to the head of the president's office, Mikhailo Podolyak, stated that since the beginning of Russia's war against Ukraine, there have been more than a dozen assassination attempts on Volodymyr Zelenskyy.
Special Forces operatives from the main intelligence directorate of Ukraine's Ministry of Defense, known as Primary, destroyed a Russian MiG-29 fighter jet in temporarily occupied Crimea. It is noted that the aircraft was destroyed at the Chechnya airfield on December 4th. That same night, GUR soldiers attacked the Irtysh airfield radar complex near temporarily occupied Simferopol.
GUR Special Forces units continue to systematically weaken the air defense system of the Muscovites over the temporarily occupied peninsula by destroying radars, anti-aircraft systems, and now also the Russian Armed Forces fighter aviation.
In 2 weeks, the primaries destroyed 8 enemy targets in Crimea. Among them were a bomber, radars, and logistics assets. Drones operated by GUR fighters destroyed a Su-24, an antenna in a radome, a Kasta radar station, an Orion UAV, 2 Podlet radar stations, a freight train, and a Russian Ural truck.
Overall, it seems that Ukraine has found a winning formula for striking Crimea using heavy FP-2 drones, which, despite having an increased warhead weight of over 100 kilograms, are capable of reaching any point in the occupied territory where Starlink is operational, making it extremely difficult to suppress these drones with electronic warfare systems. So we can expect new footage from the Primar drones soon.
Let us recall that in October, the Ukrainian Navy's intelligence confirmed the crash of a Russian Su-30SM multi-role fighter jet in temporarily occupied Crimea. It was later revealed that Russian forces had shot down their own fighter jet over occupied Crimea during a nighttime drone attack on the peninsula. And in May, GUR fighters set a record. For the first time in the world, using a Magura naval drone, they destroyed an enemy Su-30 combat aircraft over the Black Sea with an R-73 air-to-air missile equipped with a heat-seeking homing sensor. The Russian multi-role fighter jet, with an estimated value of about $50 million, burst into flames in the air and fell into the sea. The United States has suspended certain sanctions against Russia's Lukoil. Specifically, the U.S. has extended the validity of a general license that allows Lukoil's gas station networks outside of Russia to operate without being subject to sanctions. The deadline is set for April 2026, according to a statement from the U.S. Treasury Department. Washington explained that these measures were taken to mitigate the impact on consumers and suppliers seeking to conduct regular transactions with retail gas stations. It has also become known that half of Europeans consider U.S. President Donald Trump to be an enemy of Europe. These findings were revealed by a survey conducted in 9 countries for a French platform, as reported by The Guardian. The majority of respondents assess the risk of open war with Russia in the coming years as high, with 18% considering it very high. According to the results of the study, 48% of those surveyed in 9 countries consider Trump a serious enemy. Moreover, this figure varies from 62% in Belgium and 57% in France to 37% in Croatia and only 19% in Poland. Despite this, Europeans still consider relations with the United States to be strategically important. The most popular answer to the question, what position should the EU take towards the US government, was compromise. At the same time, the US authorities want Europe to take on the majority of NATO's defense capabilities by 2027, from intelligence to missiles. As Reuters reports, citing sources, shifting this burden from the US to European members will radically change the way Washington cooperates with its most important military partners.
No vertical hierarchy.
Putin was asked why he is bombing the homes of Russian-speaking Ukrainians. Geeta Mohan, a journalist from India Today, addressed Putin during an interview he gave on the eve of his visit to India. Russian dictator Vladimir Putin dodged a direct answer to the Indian journalist's question, in which he asked him to explain the Russian strikes on eastern Ukraine.
I didn't understand the question. Shocked by what? The people I met were shocked that an operation was launched during which their homes were destroyed. They lived in eastern Ukraine.
To this, Putin repeated the false propaganda claim that Russia was supposedly forced to help that part of Donbas which allegedly was not under Ukraine's control and which Ukraine was allegedly destroying.
The answer is very simple. They lived in that part of Ukraine, in that part, let's say, of the same Luhansk or Donetsk region, which was under the control of the Kiev authorities. But that part of the Luhansk or Donetsk region, which was not under their control, was being destroyed by the Kiev regime.
After such blatant lies, Putin added nonsense about how the Russian Federation supposedly gave people the opportunity to express themselves in an open referendum. He is referring to the fake, illegal referendums that Russia organized in 2014 during the beginning of the occupation of certain settlements in the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. The results of the fake referendum were not recognized by the Ukrainian authorities or the European Union. During his visit to India on December 4th and 5th, Putin intends to discuss international issues. The Kremlin noted that the parties will sign a number of intergovernmental and commercial documents.